What's up guys, welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I'm Daniel and we are back with another video. In this video we're going to be talking about 10 players from the World Cup who disappointed me. There's lack of game time, there's poor performances and there's sides not doing well in here, so I'm sure it'll be a good video. Before I do get into the video though, make sure to like the video, comment down below and also subscribe to the channel. Go over and follow the Instagram and the TikTok, Daniel Talks Football on both. I know content on the Instagram and TikTok has been a little bit sparse recently. Uploading every day on the channel, it takes its time and it means that I don't have time to get that content coming out. I think there's a short coming out in the next couple of days on TikTok and Reel though. So please do go over and follow the Instagram and the TikTok so you can find out when that is uploaded. Right, let's start with the first player that disappointed me this World Cup then, and that is Romelu Lukaku. 0 goal involvements for the Inter Milan striker and only played 54 minutes throughout the tournament. He was obviously part of Belgium's disappointing performance throughout the whole World Cup. Injuries were involved with this, and you understand that, but while they may have been involved, both he and Belgium were absolutely awful, to be honest. It just hasn't worked out for Lukaku ever since he left Inter. Obviously, he had that really good season at Inter under... was it under Conte? I think that really good season under Conte. And then he left to come to Chelsea. And obviously that then didn't work out. He wanted to go back to Inter. He's gone back to Inter and that also hasn't worked out. And he's been injured for most of the season. He's only picked up, I think, 3-4 goals throughout the whole season. He's been really, really poor. And yeah, he's the first player on players who disappointed me. Next up we have Ansu Fati. Now, Ansu Fati played 44 minutes for Spain. Now, I understand that Spain have attacking talents. This probably wasn't really his fault. He wasn't given the chances, so I'm not going to blame this one on Ansu Fati. This is a player that I did expect things off moving into the World Cup, and he did disappoint because he didn't live up to those expectations. It's not his fault though. He'll be completely fine. He just wasn't given the chance. So did he disappoint me? Did he disappoint others with the lack of game time and with the... I don't want to say the lack of things he did for this Spanish squad, but you know, he didn't do anything. So I think it's fair to put him on this list. It's not his fault, but yeah, number 2 is Ansu Fati. Next up, number 3, Luka Jovic. Now, this is another guy that's made a bad transfer in their career, and ever since then it's gone downhill. 35 minutes played in this tournament for the Serbian with 0 goal involvements. He's not been the same since he left Eintracht Frankfurt for Real Madrid. Obviously, he had that big £50 million move, and ever since that, he's just not been the same striker. He's not been the same player. He's been super, super poor this World Cup, to be honest. People thought Serbia might go far. I think in the predictions we ended up putting them possibly to the quarters, even though I said I didn't think they would go that far. Jovic wasn't at full fitness, so I get that. So maybe that was why he didn't play as many minutes as he could have done. But even when he did play, he didn't do anything. 0 goal involvements, a small amount of minutes. He was part of Serbia's disappointing performance, and hence he deserves his place on this list. Next up, now this is one that stings me hard. It's Jonathan David. I said he'd be the most important. He'd be the most improved player throughout the World Cup. 0 goal involvements for the Canadian attacker. That aged well, didn't it? This one stings. This one stings a lot because in the prediction video, we've reacted to the prediction video. I think the reaction to the awards one's coming out tomorrow as if you're listening to this. In that you can just hear how disappointed I am. Really poor. So cheers Jonathan David. I backed you and you did nothing. Moving on to number 5 in the list now, and this is Aaron Ramsey. Now this is another guy who's been truly awful since he left the club. But the rest of them haven't even been awful. Ramsey has been. He's done nothing since he left Arsenal. He had that bad move to Juventus in which he was injured all the time. And then the move to Nice in the summer hasn't worked out. He was walked all over in that midfield for Wales this World Cup. And he was a big part of why that Welsh midfield was so poor. He's got MLS written all over him. And I can see possibly in January or in the summer him making a move to the MLS. Because there's no way he stays in European football. He's not good enough anymore. And yeah, he was really, really poor this World Cup. Now this next one is a harsh one. It's Neymar. I want to preface this with saying he wasn't awful this World Cup. He wasn't even that bad. He got 3 goal involvements for this Brazilian side, and he was fine. But this is a Neymar and a Brazilian side that people expected to win a World Cup. People are saying Neymar needs to have a sort of, Ronaldinho, kind of Pele effect on this Brazilian side this year to take them to all World Cups. We can be up there with one of the great Brazilians of all time. People had those sort of expectations of Neymar going into this World Cup. He wasn't a key part of the side. They got knocked out to Croatia in the quarterfinals, was it, in the end? He wasn't the key part to the side that we all expected. He wasn't awful, but still fairly disappointing. Next up in number 7, these aren't in any order. In number 7, we have Giovanni Reina. Now, this wasn't one I was actually too aware of throughout the World Cup. It's only once you made a statement I truly became aware of what had happened here. I sort of forgot he existed throughout the World Cup, to be honest. He made a statement himself after the World Cup saying that he had acted unprofessionally. His manager decided that he wasn't going to play a crucial role in this American side, and he didn't like that. I still think Reina's got a lot of talent, and I also do want to give him credit for admitting that he was wrong and coming out and publicly apologising. There's a lot of young players that wouldn't do that and would just stay quiet on it, or even back their own corner in it. Reina said that he was wrong to do it, so I rate that from him. I still think it was disappointing though. People expected him to be a big part of this USA side. If they were to do anything, people knew that Giovanni Reina would have had to be a big part to that. He's still got time on his side, like Ansu Fati early on in the list. So I'm not going to criticise him too much. But again, I feel that attitude problem here is the main reason why he's on this list. Number 8, we have Denis Zakaria. Now, this is obviously a guy that made the move to from Mönchengladbach to Juventus and now on a loan move to Chelsea. This loan move to Chelsea just has not worked out. And, he didn't play for ages until like the final couple of games before the World Cup. This World Cup rounds off a bad season so far for the Swiss international. 60 odd minutes this World Cup, I didn't count them all. And he was just poor. There was a reason he didn't play more. He should have been a big part of the Swiss side. He is a good player. He can play DM, he can play centre-back. So, there's not really any excuse for him not to get game time. Yet clearly he didn't show it in training. He didn't show the manager he wanted to play enough. So it's poor from Zakaria. I expect more of him to come. And yeah, Denis Zakaria is on this list. Now the next one I think is probably another harsh one. I've put Leon Goretzka on this list. This was a player that was supposed to be key for Germany throughout this World Cup, but he was actually quite poor throughout the tournament. Look, he played enough. He was a player that played a lot for Germany. But yeah, he just didn't impress me. Most of the squad was average, so I could have picked any of them. I understand this is harsh, but I needed to have a Germany player on there. And, while I wasn't impressed with a lot of the squad, they weren't particularly people that disappointed me because I didn't expect much out of them going into the tournament. And players I did expect things out of, they actually ended up doing quite well, like Musiala. So, Goretzka, he just wasn't excellent. And if Germany were to do something top that group, like I said they would, he needed to be good. So, yeah, I think Goretzka is deservedly on this list. And then last but not least, this is a very easy one. Eden Hazard. 0 goal involvements, and he's just not the same player he used to be. That Eden Hazard at Chelsea was elite. We all remember the interview that broke all Chelsea fans' hearts. When he said he thought it was a goodbye. Ever since that moment, ever since his presentation at Real Madrid, which is supposed to be his dream move, he hasn't been the same player. It's so disappointing. He needs a move. He can't stay at Real Madrid because it's not working from there. There will be clubs that take him. He could easily get a move to... I bet Wolves would take him. I bet Chelsea would still take him back. There are so many sides that would take him, so many top sides that would take him. He needs a move to try and get his career back on track, but this World Cup was utterly disappointing for the Belgian. But yeah, that's 10 players who disappointed me this World Cup. What do you make to my selections? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. See ya!